Don't know how I can explain. 하루 종일 네 생각에 간절해 낯설어. 나 왜 이런 걸까? You're the cure to all my pains. 널 좋아하나 봐. 널 사랑하나 봐. 이제는 더 이상 숨길 수 없잖아. 내일 더 아껴줄 거야. 안아줄 거야. We're meant to be, you can't deny. 내일 더 다가갈 거야. 사랑해줄 거야. You're my sunshine after rain. 네가 좋아. 짙게 빈 하늘을 봐. 더 푸르른 하늘과 Silver lining in the clouds. 바람결에 눈은 너의 향기. 햇살 같은 눈밑 작은 점 하나같이 사랑해주지 않고 못해가. Oh baby, 널 좋아하나 봐. 널 사랑하나 봐. 이제는 더 이상 숨길 수 없잖아. 내일 더 아껴줄 거야. 안아줄 거야. We're meant to be, you can't deny. 내일 더 다가갈 거야. 사랑해줄 거야. You're my sunshine after rain. 네가 좋아. 줄 거야. 안아줄 거야. We're meant to be, you can't deny. 내일 더 다가갈 거야. 사랑해줄 거야. You're my sunshine after rain. 네가 좋아.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to MessyMocha. So come on in, grab a cup, and let's sip this morning mocha up. We are going to get into today's news and updates, and one of the biggest events that is happening later this evening at 5 p.m. will be live Donald Trump at Madison Square Garden. So we're going to talk about this rally that's coming up. As a matter of fact, it's recommended Democrats and Republicans, even from the Democratic side, to watch this rally. This is important because some are relating it to what was in 1939, when H was at Madison Square Gardens, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to all my other bears I call the Grizzlies. Please hit the like on your way in. Fair use. Commentary, as always. This broadcast is for education, criticism, news reporting, and entertainment purposes only. This article that you see is coming from the New York Post this morning. And you can watch it live on various channels. You can watch it live on YouTube. New York Post is covering it. And of course, all major media will be covering this event. But before I get into it, let me come out and just say a quick hello to my moderators. Also, to those of you who decided to join me on a Sunday morning, welcome back. 8 days, the countdown to Election Day in the U.S. So, what do we need to know about this event? Former President Donald Trump is returning to the city of his birth to host a mega rally at the iconic Madison Square Garden on Sunday. So, this is everything that you need to know before the blockbuster affair, just 9 days before, actually 8 days before the election day. All right. So, the 45th president is scheduled to deliver remarks at 5 p.m. The doors of the world's most famous arena will open to the public at 12 p.m. The Trump campaign offered supporters the opportunity to register for tickets through its website on a first come, first served basis. By the way, I've already seen people they've been lined up since early this morning. Registrants could only receive a maximum of 2 tickets. Now, that was per cell phone number used to secure an admission. And of course, the lines are already wrapping, long lines to get through security at Trump rallies. So it is recommended that attendees arrive early once the doors open. Again, they're scheduled to open at noon. Let me just show you. All right. This. Okay. I'll just leave this up for a second. Okay. And if you want to watch it, the live stream, all the festivities will begin at 3 p.m. Okay, leading up to the rally. Let's see. Also, the Post, New York Post, will have a live blog of Trump's rally running throughout the day. So I can get updates right now. Scheduled road closures and traffic disruptions. New York City officials have not yet announced any road closures related to Sunday's rally. However, attendees are strongly encouraged to take public transportation if at all possible. Penn State, which sits beneath the garden, can be accessed via 1, 2, and 3 subway lines. The B, D, F, and Q, and R trains stop at 34th Street and 6th Avenue, while A, C, and E trains stop at 34th Street and 8th Avenue with underground access to the arena. Now, I can only imagine all of these lines that run beneath the Madison Square Gardens. They've all been swept. They should all be secured. There will be an overwhelming presence of police officers, security, and of course, former President Donald Trump's own detail. Penn Station is also a hub for the Long Island Railroad. Why am I giving information New York? Well, it's there in New York, and this is the New York Post. Okay. Please check MTA information for updated schedules or load the MTA Train Time app to purchase tickets and stay up to date with the latest alerts. That's a nice shot. Aerial view of the Moynihan Station and Madison Square Garden. That is a picture that comes from Getty Images. It was shot on February 26, 2021 in New York City. Just want to make sure I give credit to pictures and videos. Okay. So, why is Trump having a rally in New York City? And let me just make sure I'm looking. Okay, don't want to have any comments up on the screen. Let me go back. So, why? The former president has long maintained that he believes he can win his home state and has spoken about doing a rally at Madison Square Gardens. This has been since March of 2023 when he was indicted on business fraud charges. The 78-year-old Republican nominee is expected to speak about his policies and how he would turn New York around as the 47th president. Also, I read this morning, Mayor Eric Adams, when asked by a reporter if he agreed that the former president is a fascist, his response was no. I'm going to see if I can play a little bit of that. But it was polar opposite, although he's a Democrat, opposite of what Vice President Kamala Harris was asked during that town hall. If I'm not mistaken, it was during the town hall. She said Donald Trump, or when asked, yes, Donald Trump is a fascist. What to make of that? The first thought that came to my mind, I have to be honest. So everyone knows that Mayor Eric Adams is embroiled in his own problems with FBI looking into his financial let's see, state while he's been mayor, and others, and his comings and goings. Okay. So, what if Mayor Eric Adams is tried and convicted and ends up receiving a sentence of jail time or something, right? Then if, and again, everything has to line up. If Trump becomes president, would he then pardon Mayor Eric Adams? I mean, that came to mind. I don't know why. Just quickly. I don't know what your thoughts are. But that could speak volumes for his plans, if he isn't convicted, to move up or sideways in the Democratic Party. I don't know. Okay, let me continue. So, President Trump's message to New York City is simple and built on his winning record, which is if you want to return to the strongest economy in over 60 years, rising wages, quality jobs, stronger borders, and safer neighborhoods, then vote for the Trump J.D. Vance ticket. This is what the campaign said in promoting the event. So here's another picture. Everybody knows what Donald Trump looks like. Just leave it here. A Trump advisor told the Post that the Madison Square Garden appearance, while it likely won't turn New York red, will create waves in national media and dominate headlines on an otherwise sleepy Sunday. Well, it's already taking up headlines. A Republican hasn't carried New York since Ronald Reagan defeated Democrat Walter Mondale. That was in 1984. And polling shows Vice President Kamala Harris leading Trump by double digits. So perhaps most importantly, the appearance will serve as an opportunity for the campaign to do a little fundraise and give a boost to down ballot candidates, especially those on tightly contested congressional races across New York. So again, whoever becomes this nation's 47th president, you still have other, seats that we need to be thinking about in Congress and in the Senate. So when was the last time Madison Square Gardens was used for a campaign rally? Since it opened in February 1968, the current incarnation of Madison Square Garden has hosted the Democratic National Convention 3 times. Those were in 1976, 1980, and 1992. And the Republican National Convention held once in 2004. In the past, the Garden's predecessor, about 15 blocks up 8th Avenue, was a popular place for candidates to make their closing arguments to the country. Herbert Hoover spoke at Madison Square Garden 3 in late October 1928 and 1932. Franklin Delano Roosevelt did the same 4 years later, as did Harry Truman in 1948 and John F. Kennedy in 1960. The last candidate to hold a late October rally at Madison Square Gardens is believed to have been Alabama Governor George Wallace, who addressed supporters in the closing days of the 1968 campaign. Let me just look up something else. I'm going to play one song. I'll be right back. Hang on for a second.
아주 우연히 듣게 된 그 노래 나도 모르게 숨죽여 들었어 색이 바래진 그날의 기억을 모른 척하려 두 눈을 감았어 이젠 아무렇지 않다고 믿었던 나 너란 기억이 다물지 못했나 봐 함께 줬다면 언젠가 들려준 곡 흔하디 흔한 그저 그런 love song 그런 그 노래가 왜 이제 와서야 모든 가사가 다 내 얘기가 된 거야 흥얼거리던 그때 네 목소리가 들려 미소 짓곤 해 아련한 기억 속에 그 노래 우연이라도 혹시 마주친다면 그때 말해주려 해 요즘도 듣고 있어 그 노래
That was called Our Song. The artist on that one is Adeline Pake. And Gia Papaya says, this is a beautiful song. Janet Jackson sings a song similar to this one. All right. So, in the beginning, when I was talking about appearances at Madison Square Gardens, I misspoke about one important one. So, let me just clarify on that. So, Adolf H. himself never visited New York or made an appearance at Madison Square Garden. So, correction. However, the German American band and pro Nazi organization led by Fritz Kuhn, they held a major rally. That was on February 20th, 1939. So, this event is kind of being billed or talked about in that context. All right. It was that event then was billed as a pro American event in 1939, and it drew about 20,000 supporters and featured, I'll just say, symbols and speeches. You know what I'm talking about, the kind of symbols promoting isolationist, right? Fascist visions for America. All right. So this term fascist and that we're hearing now, which we've heard before about various Republicans. We have various leaders, even some Democrats. So that's not a new term. But this rally is calling attention to that event in a subtle for some and then for others in a not so subtle way. So back then, the rally also included, there were tributes to George Washington and others. And outside, there were approximately 100,000 protesters that gathered and had clashes with police and demonstrations that were widespread. And it showed the opposition to the event within New York and the broader US. So that was 1939. What is going to happen today outside of Madison Square Gardens? I don't know if 100,000 protesters are going to gather. You never know, though, right? You never know what is going to happen. But they are looking at any parallels if they do happen. So that 1939 rally, it has remained controversial in American history as an alarming reminder of domestic support for, I'm going to say, that ideology. Okay. You know, the ideology I'm talking about over in Germany or then. And anti Semitism at the time. It highlights how authoritarian and fascist ideas found sympathizers within the US. This was before World War II fully erupted. So, comparisons between this event and modern political rallies, including some held by former President Donald Trump, have sparked debates about whether certain modern events bear its resemblances to the tone or the symbolism of authoritarian rallies from the past. Some critics are even arguing that certain um, imagery, symbols, rhetoric are evoking echoes of extremist ideologies. Those supporters have been, they reject this notion. These comparisons are there, and their supporters are characterizing them as a misinterpretation of what the former President Donald Trump is, holding. So I thought I would make a correction there, but talk about it because it's important in our history. It is. So now I'm going to come out, read some of your comments. Before I get into anything else, we're right at the top of the hour. It's 11 a.m. where I am. Okay, I'm on Eastern Daylight Time. And I think, isn't it next Sunday that the clocks, we fall back? Let's see. Yes, next Sunday, November 3rd. Okay. So we fall backwards. Let me go back to my page. You like the song? It was beautiful. I like it too. She has a beautiful voice as well. All right. Political comments. Yes, New Yorkers. I read. Yeah, it's a blue state. Blue wall. It's similar to, Texas is red state. But Vice President Kamala Harris was in Texas with Beyonce and others, and Donald Trump is in his home state, New York. So, you know, both candidates are um, vying for votes from opposite, parties to attract maybe some undecided voters. Yeah, who knows? Shirley, good morning, says, I was kind of chuckling at the last bit of your comment. For Trump's generation, Madison Square Garden was the ultimate entertainment venue. Yeah, fights and that. Mayor Adams is an idiot. He won a lot of votes. What does that say about New Yorkers? Do you think he'll get back in office? I do. Let's see. All right, so 2021 was the New York City mayoral election, and the incumbent mayor, de Blasio, he was term limited, ineligible to run for re-election. Thus, Eric Adams won. What do you think about the idea that, the notion? Well, why do you think Eric Adams said that? Do you have any idea what might have been? No one knows exactly what's on his mind, but he did talk about it and gave a reason why. As a matter of fact, he said something about all on both sides need to tone down. Yes, tone down. Let me see exactly what he said. I listened to the clip. That's where I read it. In a Politico, Eric Adams says Donald Trump is not a fascist, defending the Republican again. The New York City mayor is setting himself apart from fellow Democrats as Donald Trump prepares to rally in deep blue Manhattan. So, Eric Adams said on Saturday that he does not believe Donald Trump to be a fascist, defending the Republican presidential nominee ahead of his rally. It wasn't the first time that the Democratic mayor has staked out common ground with Trump, and it came as little surprise. Adams has consistently differentiated himself from other Democrats by repeatedly declining to criticize the former president. Adams made his latest remarks at a press conference at New York Police Department headquarters discussing security a day before Trump is set to host a massive campaign rally at Manhattan's, of course, iconic Madison Square Garden. Quoting, the mayor said this: I have heard those terms hurled at me by some political leaders in the city using terms like, I'll just say Hitler and fascist. My answer is no. I know what Hitler has done, and I know what a fascist regime looks like. Adams said, when asked if he sees Trump as a fascist as Kamala Harris. Trump's one-time chief of staff, John Kelly, and others do. Adams called for the temperature to be turned down in the country's political discourse and said Trump should be permitted to rally in Manhattan as a matter of free speech. Like Trump, the mayor of the country's biggest city has been indicted on federal charges and has alleged, without evidence, that he is the victim of political persecution by a retaliatory Biden administration. Trump expressed sympathy for Adams most recently at the recent Al Smith dinner in Manhattan. I didn't know that. And Adams, in the past, has welcomed Trump's support. So, turn down the temperature, that's what he says. What is this? Adams is a severe narcissist and opportunist who seems to worship at the altar of self interest and those who can benefit him. Aha. Okay. We are now down to the wire. Shouldn't they focus solely on battleground states? Well, as a matter of fact, that's what's going on today and the rest of the week. Let me just tell you the schedule. I had it pulled up. Let me see. What is the latest? On the 2024 presidential election. On the trail, former President Donald Trump returns to his hometown of New York City today for a rally at Madison Square Garden, while Vice President Kamala Harris will campaign in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania. Final pitches: Harris is leaning into abortion rights and contrasting her character with Trump's in the campaign's closing days, while the former president is hammering the Democratic nominee on immigration. The latest CNN poll found that the candidates deadlocked among likely voters nationwide. With 9 days until the election and early voting underway. Of course, you can look at the areas. There's handbooks available. You can read up on the 2024 candidates, their proposals on key issues, or you can go to CNN's Election Center as well. Let's see. 19 minutes ago, the latest update, I'm reading from CNN, Mark Cuban says it's not a stretch to call Trump a fascist. Billionaire businessman Mark Cuban, who has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris, said that it's not a stretch to call former President Donald Trump a fascist after Harris called Trump one during CNN's town hall last week. Quoting, Donald Trump is not a normal candidate, and I think it's not a stretch to call Donald Trump a fascist, Cuban said in an interview with ABC News this week that aired Sunday, going on to say, he's talking about the enemy within and going after people using the military. He's talked about mass deportations. Where? They'll stop people on the street and check their papers. What does that remind you of? Talking about, knocking on doors and pulling people out and deporting them? What does that remind you of? That's pretty damn close, he said, to fascism, if not the definition of fascism. So Cuban also claimed that he hasn't given Harris a penny, saying, if I have a good idea and I feel passionate about the candidate, I'll help. I don't want them to work with me because I paid them to work with me, he said. Let's see if there are any other updates that I want to bring to your attention. There are many, and updates are given minute by minute. Uh, let's see. So I told you where Harris and Trump are going to be. Waltz, the Democratic vice presidential nominee, Tim Waltz, is set to hold a campaign event in Las Vegas. Nevada is another key swing state where Harris and Walz's campaign has focused significant efforts on rallying Hispanic voters to the polls. Vance, Trump's running mate, is expected to appear with him at the Madison Square Garden rally, as well as at a campaign fundraiser in New York before the big event. Vance will also appear on CNN's State of the Nation this morning, which should have already taken place. I believe State of the Nation, if I'm not mistaken, maybe comes on at 10 o'clock. Okay, what else? So I think that should catch us up on the latest on the 2024 election and any other headlines that I think are relevant this morning. Face the nation. Yes. Um, Again, it's a dead heat. I mean, tie right now. Yeah, with 8 days to go. Who's winning at the polls? Nobody. It's a dead eye. It's a tie. Yeah, leading. Yeah, it's a neck and neck. It's a horse race. It will be by a nose at the finish line, most probably. Yeah, there'll be just maybe a margin that will separate. Okay, a tie is good. It is. It is. And there will be voters who we won't know about that are going to cross over on both parties. So we just don't know. Okay. Anything else? You can email me at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. What is it? Okay. And, oh, okay, let me just read this before I go on to anything else. Thank you. Oh, Cheryl says, as a child, I learned about fascism through the, what is that, Sneetches or Snitches? And other stories by Dr. Seuss, published in 1961. Hmm. The title story explores themes of discrimination, conformity, and prejudice. It tells of two groups, Starbelly, I think that's snitches. No, not snitches, sneeches, because snitches with an I, who sees themselves as superior, and plain belly sneeches, leading to division and exclusion. You know, as a child, I can't remember that one. Let's see if I can find some information on it. Huh. I never I never knew of this story. Let's see. Let me get the pronunciation. Maybe I'm pronouncing it incorrectly.
Sneeches.
Okay. Sneeches. So that's what it is.
Sneeches.
All right. So it was pronounced correctly. Sneeches. Now, I never, I, I just never heard of it. Sneeches. You have it correct. Um, what is the meaning of it? Cheryl Lovewins comes in and says, I thought I'd read every Dr. Seuss book, but I never read that one. I never read it. I never heard of it. And of course, the most famous Dr. Seuss book is The Cat and the Hat, right? We all read that one. But it's a children's book, really. So here's a little bit of the synopsis of it. The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss is a children's story that explores themes, like she says, of prejudice, acceptance, and arbitrariness of societal divisions. The story focuses on two groups of Sneetches, those with stars on their bellies and those without. Really? The star belly Sneetches view themselves as superior and exclude the plain belly Sneetches from their gatherings. A character named Sylvester McMonkey, McBean, arrives with a machine that can add or remove stars, exploiting the Sneetches' insecurities and eagerness to fit in for profit. Eventually, after repeatedly switching appearances, the Sneetches realize that stars, or lack thereof, do not define who they are. The story ends with the Sneetches abandoning their divisive thinking, learning that they are all the same at heart. This story serves as a commentary on prejudice and the futility of basing self worth or superiority on arbitrary physical differences. It's widely regarded as a powerful, accessible lesson on equality and tolerance for readers of all ages. You can even refer to the summary on Seussville. I didn't know. When was that book written? What was it, in the 60s? When was it? Let's go back to the date. Let's see. Did Cheryl say when that came out? 61. Yes, you did. I would have been 3 years old. I was 3 in 1961. So, no, I did read it. I hadn't even heard about it. That's the year of your birth, 1961. All right. Woohoo. Oh, really? Check it out. Dr. Seuss is alleged to have been a racist. Wait a minute. Loved One says, Cheryl, it's not Dr. Seuss. Let me grab the book to get the author. No, it says. No, now I am. Who is the author? No, it's here. It shows is Dr. Seuss. But who is, okay. The only author I can find is Seuss, Dr. Seuss. There isn't another person said to be the author of the Sneetches. Dr. Seuss' authorship is well documented and uncontested. This story is recognized as one of his many works that address societal values. Oh, so there's another popular book, The Lorax and Horton. Here's a Who. Now, I've heard of that book, and I may have read that book, but I've never thought of the societal values as a child when I was reading the books, Dr. Seuss. So, when did we first learn? So, those books were, passed out or read to us, or, they were in the library at school, right? Everybody knows. Green Eggs and Ham, Sam I Am. Yeah. One apple, two apple, three apple on top. We all, okay, now I don't know what they're reading to children these days. I really don't know what the beginners' books are, but I think Dr. Seuss has remained a staple. If I'm not mistaken, I really don't know. Now I'm curious to find out because there may be protests against uh, banning some of these books. I simply don't know. Okay, so let me find out if Dr. Seuss is still a staple. Yes, it is. Dr. Seuss remains a staple in many children's book collections and classrooms, though with some changes. His books like The Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham, and All the Places You'll Go are widely recognized for their imaginative language and themes that are engaging and accessible for young readers. However, recent years have brought some reconsideration of his works in schools, especially regarding certain titles containing outdated or offensive imagery. In 2021, Dr. Seuss Enterprises decided to stop publishing 6 of his books, including And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street. Now, we definitely have that book. And If I Ran the Zoo, due to racist and insensitive depictions, this decision sparked a uh, larger conversation about how his works are approached in education. Many schools now emphasize books that promote inclusivity and often choose Seuss books that focus on universal messages like the Lorax or the Horton Hears a Who, while avoiding those with problematic portrayals. Overall, Dr. Seuss's books are still popular and used in classrooms, particularly those that celebrate creativity, language skills, and moral lessons. But as educators continue to emphasize diverse perspectives, his presence in the curriculum may become more selective. So if you have children in school, if you have grandkids in school, if you have nieces and nephews, if you just have friends who have children, we should all be concerned, right? Because this is where children are learning, the teachers are doing their jobs. Gia Papaya says, Cheryl, what's a red diaper baby? Cheryl says, I read all of those. Gia, a red diaper baby is a child of parents who were members of the Communist Party, USA, CPUSA, or the Communist Party of Canada, or were close to the party or sympathetic to its aims. But Seuss, Cheryl continues to say, was an apparent real a-hole. Facts. All right, we're going to let that do it. Takes us right to an hour, 11:29 to be exact, 58:19. Lovewind says, I loved all the little golden books. Dr. Seuss. Who is that? Is that Ronald Dahl? Judy Blume, Shel Silverstein, and Aesop's Fables. I may have read that wrong. Is that Ruau? Okay. My mom was a Marxist in her thinking, not card carrying. How about that? Okay. That will do it. We learned some things this morning. I hope you all enjoyed maybe some of the lessons that we learned and knowledge that we gained, and the news, by the way, today's news and updates. Good morning. It's still morning. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the Grizzlies. Please hit the like on your way out. I hope you enjoy your Sunday. Stay tuned as I plan to come back later tonight, sometime right here on Run Till That 2. Keep your bear phones on. You never know when I will go over to Station Head or to Rip Running Receipts. I'll let you know in advance. Check the community wall, but that's it. That's all for me right now. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Have a great day. Oh, no, wait a minute. Lovewind puts it up. I think Roald Dahl was a pseudonym. The author was actually a woman, I think. Okay. Thank you for the tips and clarification.
Rain 우린 젖은 채로 stay 하루 종일 또 색다른 motive Fame 그 Grammy 너를 take 매일 갖고 싶어 너만 생각하면 높이 날아 I heard that you've been just searching for someone when you need me right now It's now or never babe I just wanted you to see It's It's natural desire, cause you need me right now, now, now. With you, I can feel it, feel it, feel it in my body. With you, I can feel it, feel it, feel it in my mind. Do a little extra, just tryna do more. Supernova with you. Yeah, she knows I'm feeling. Do a little extra. 나는 do it 언제나 do a little extra. Yeah, do a little extra. Tell me what you need right now. I just want that. Do a little extra. Do a little extra. Tell me what you need right now. I just want that. Do a little extra. Do a little extra. Don't tell me your last name. You make me go insane. 넌 또 가만히 놔두질 못해. I'm afraid you see 내 마음 깊이. Always running out of time. Yeah. Take it slow and make your mind up. I heard that you've been just searching for someone when you need me right now. It's now or never, babe. I just wanted you to see. It's natural desire, cause you need me right now, now, now. With you, I can feel it, feel it, feel it in my body. With you, I can feel it, feel it, feel it in my mind. Do a little extra, just tryna do more. Supernova with you. Yeah, she knows I'm feeling. Do a little extra. 나는 do it 언제나 do a little extra. Yeah, do a little extra. Tell me what you need right now. I just want that. Do a little extra. Do a little extra. Tell me what you need right now. I just want that. Do a little extra. Do a little extra.